We're going to talk about how you change a mixed number to an improper fraction and an improper fraction back to a mixed number. Before we get started, let me show you what an improper fraction and a mixed number is. A mixed number is a number where you have a whole number and a fraction part. It's mixed. You've got a whole number and a fraction. Now in an improper fraction is a fraction where your numerator is larger than your denominator. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to change from mixed numbers, which have whole numbers and fractions together, into improper fractions, which are fractions where our numerator is bigger than our denominator. And there are three steps that we use to do this. The first step that we're going to do is we're going to multiply our denominator times our whole number. So if we look over here, I'm going to take this denominator and I'm going to multiply it by this whole number. So 2 times 3 gives me 6. And you want to keep that number in your head because we're going to use that for our next step. Our next step is that we're going to take this product and we're going to add our numerator to it. So we're going to take this product and now we're going to add this numerator. So 6 plus 1 gives me 7. That 7 is now my new numerator. The denominator stays the same. So my original denominator right here was 2. My denominator stays the same. So 3 1/2 is equivalent to 7 halves. Now if you want to see this in picture form, look down here on the bottom. What I have here is I have 3 wholes and 1/2. That represents my mixed number, 3 1/2. If I want to change it into an improper fraction, what I want to do is figure out how many halves do I have total. Not how many wholes and how many halves, but how many halves are there all together. So if I break all these wholes, these 3 rectangles that were holes, break them apart, we can see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 halves. And that's how we get our mixed number, 7 halves. So let's do another one. Okay, remember, step number 1, multiply the denominator and the whole number. So multiply the denominator times the whole number. 9 times 6 is 54. Now you want to remember that product because our next step is that we're going to add the numerator to the product. So 54 plus 7 gives me 61. That 61 is my new numerator, and I'm going to put it over the original denominator, which was 9. So 6 7/9 as an improper fraction would be 61/9. Now that's how you go from a mixed number to an improper fraction. We can also go the other way, go from an improper fraction to a mixed number. Now remember, when we have an improper fraction, our numerator is bigger than our denominator. That means when we change it to a mixed number, we're going to have some whole parts and then some fractional parts also. So what we want to do is we want to think about this in terms of division. I'm going to divide my numerator by my denominator. So my numerator goes inside my bracket. My denominator goes outside my bracket. So what I'm going to do is 16 divided by 3. When I get this answer, the quotient here, 16 divided by 3, that goes in 5 times. That's my whole number, okay, in my mixed number, this whole, because it goes in 5 whole times completely. So I do my division. 3 times 5 is 15. I subtract and I get a remainder of 1. This remainder is my new numerator because that's how many are left over. That's how many parts I have left if you think in terms of pictures. So I have 5 wholes with 1 part left over, and the parts we were dividing into groups of 3s. So this 3, my original denominator, stays my denominator. So the way I write this as a mixed number, I take my whole number, which was 5. I take my new numerator right here, which is a 1, and I keep my same denominator, which is a 3. So 5 1/3 is the same as 16/3. Let's try one more. 27/5. So step number 1 is to see how many times I can divide 27 into 5 groups. 27 divided by 5 goes in 5 whole times. So that's my whole number. 5 times 5 is 25, and we subtract and we get a remainder of 2. Remember, this remainder is how many parts I have left, so that's my new numerator. And then my denominator stays the same. That's how many groups we were dividing into. So my denominator is a 5. So to break this down, my whole number is a 5, my numerator is a 2, and my denominator is still a 5. So 27 fifths is the same as 5 and 2 fifths.